Ethan wiped the sweat from his brow as he adjusted the controls of his small repair station. The planet's sun was harsh, glaring through the thin clouds, but he didn't mind. He had always preferred solitude. Out here, far from crowded cities and busy starports, he could work on his machines without interruptions. It was quiet, almost too quiet, until the distant sound of metal scraping against rock shattered the calm. He squinted toward the horizon. A bright streak of light cut across the sky and then crashed violently into the ground, sending a plume of dust high into the air. Ethan's heart jumped. That wasn't a normal meteor. It moved too strangely. Something alive must have been inside. Without thinking, he grabbed his utility pack and ran toward the crash site. As he approached, the air smelled of burning metal and ozone. The spacecraft was unlike anything he had ever seen. Its hull was sleek, curved, and shimmered with colors he couldn't name. Smoke rose from a small breach on the side. Ethan's training in mechanical engineering told him that most of the craft was repairable, but the pilot, or passenger, was his immediate concern. He crawled under a part of the wreckage and found her. A woman lay on the ground unconscious. Her dark hair was streaked with dust and her clothes were torn but elegant, as if she had been wearing some sort of uniform or ceremonial attire. Ethan's instincts kicked in. He gently lifted her onto his shoulders and carried her back to his repair station. Inside, he laid her down on a reinforced workbench. She was breathing but shallowly, and a faint bruise appeared on her forehead. Ethan tore a strip from his shirt to bandage her wound and then examined the rest of her. Everything about her screamed mystery. He had seen many adventurers crash land in his time, but never someone like her. Hours passed. Ethan worked tirelessly to clean her injuries and stabilize her condition. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across his workshop, she stirred. Her eyes slowly opened, revealing deep golden irises that seemed to shine in the dim light. "Who are you?" she whispered, her voice soft but commanding. Ethan smiled, trying to put her at ease. "I'm Ethan. I saw your ship crash. You're lucky I was nearby. Can you sit up?" She nodded weakly. "Thank you." "Ethan, I don't remember exactly what happened. You were in a crash. Don't worry. You're safe now." He handed her a bottle of water. "Drink slowly." She sipped carefully, her eyes scanning the workshop. "Your place? It's simple but well-equipped. Most humans don't have this level of skill." Ethan chuckled. "I've been fixing things all my life. Makes sense that a human would help when someone's in trouble." She tilted her head, studying him with a curious expression. "You're different. Brave and intelligent. Most would run or ignore a stranger in need. I guess I never liked ignoring people in danger," Ethan said simply. "I've had my share of trouble too. Helps me understand." For a while, silence fell between them, filled only by the soft hum of machinery. Ethan tried to repair the damage to her ship remotely, connecting wires and scanning systems. It was unlike any technology he had ever encountered, advanced, elegant, almost alive. Every interface seemed to respond to thought more than touch, and every repair required both precision and intuition. "I didn't expect anyone to find me," she said after a moment. "Not here. Not so far from the core systems of my world." Ethan frowned. "Your world? Are you an explorer?" She paused, choosing her words carefully. "Something like that. I travel to maintain balance. Some people might call me royalty, but I prefer action to ceremony." Ethan nodded slowly, though he didn't fully understand her meaning. She seemed different from anyone he had ever met. Calm, confident, and yet vulnerable. He felt a strange sense of responsibility toward her, a drive to keep her safe no matter what. Night fell over the planet, and the temperature dropped. Ethan offered her a thermal blanket. She accepted it silently, wrapping herself carefully. Outside, the wind howled through the rocky terrain, but inside, the small repair station felt like a haven. "You seem comfortable here," she said after a while. "I like my solitude," Ethan replied. "And it's easier to work without distractions, but well, you're not a distraction exactly. More interesting." She smiled faintly, the first sign of warmth. "Interesting. That's a simple way to put it. You humans are unpredictable. I wasn't expecting anyone to help me without questions, without fear," Ethan shrugged. "Maybe humans aren't as weak as some believe. We adapt, we fight when we must, and we help when it's right." Her gaze softened. "I see that now. I underestimated your species." Over the next few days, Ethan continued repairing her ship. Each day, he learned a little more about her technology and a little less about her true identity. She let him see the core systems of the ship, how it harnessed energy from stars and converted it into propulsion and shields, but she carefully avoided revealing the command codes or the secrets of her home system. Ethan noticed that her ship wasn't just a personal vessel. It was a mobile fortress. The weapons were dormant but powerful, the shields were nearly indestructible, and the navigation systems could reach places no human had ever seen. Despite all this, she treated him with kindness and respect, never asserting dominance, never showing superiority. It wasn't long before the first signs of danger arrived. From the edge of the system, small drones appeared, scouting ships, most likely pirates or raiders drawn to the crash site. Ethan noticed them on his scanner and prepared for defense, using his knowledge of terrain and makeshift traps around the station. When the drones approached, Ethan activated a series of automated defenses he had designed for emergencies. Laser turrets whirred to life. Energy nets shot out and the drones were disabled without direct combat. Liara watched silently, her golden eyes wide with a mixture of surprise and admiration. "You did that?" she asked. "Yes, my station has a few tricks. I never know when someone or something might show up." Her lips curved into a small smile. "You humans, clever, brave, I may have misjudged you." Ethan laughed. "Well, it's easy to be clever when the odds are against you. You just have to think, not panic." For a brief moment, the danger passed and peace returned to the rocky planet. Ethan and Liara sat together by a small fire he had built, the light reflecting off the metallic hull of her ship. "I don't usually meet humans like you," she admitted. "Most are too timid, too cautious, too focused on themselves. And I don't usually meet women like you," Ethan replied softly. "Strong, confident, mysterious. Someone who knows their worth but still trusts a stranger." She studied him for a long moment. "I trust you, Ethan, more than anyone I've met in a long time." "Perhaps. That is what is different about your species. Even when small, even when alone, you can make a difference." Ethan felt a warmth in his chest he hadn't expected. It wasn't just pride. It was something deeper. He realized that helping her wasn't just about duty. It was about connection, about seeing someone in need and rising to meet it. As the night deepened, Liara finally allowed herself to rest fully, leaning back on the thermal blanket Ethan had provided. Ethan kept watch, repairing her ship systems and ensuring that no further danger approached. He didn't know who she truly was or what power she held. All he knew was that she needed him, and he would not fail her. The stars above twinkled silently, vast and endless, reminding Ethan of how small he seemed in the universe. Yet in this quiet corner of space he felt important, not for glory, not for wealth, not for recognition, but for doing what was right. And unknown to him, Liara, ruler of a vast galactic empire rich beyond imagination, watched him with a mixture of awe and respect. She had seen leaders and warriors from countless worlds, but none had approached her with such humility, courage, and intelligence. Ethan had no idea that this encounter would change the course of galaxies. He only knew one thing for certain. He had helped her. And in helping her, he had shown what humans were truly capable of. The night passed quietly with the promise of new challenges ahead. Ethan and Liara were strangers, yet a bond was forming, one that would test their courage, their skills, and ultimately their hearts. For now, in the shadow of a distant world, a human had helped a mysterious woman, and in doing so, had begun a story that would echo across the stars. The morning sun crept over the jagged horizon, casting long shadows across the small repair station. Ethan was already awake, tinkering with Liara's ship, checking for hidden damage he might have missed the night before. She was still asleep, curled up under the thermal blanket he had given her, her breathing slow and steady. Ethan couldn't help but feel a strange mix of curiosity and responsibility. He had no idea who she really was or the kind of power she held. All he knew was that she was remarkable. Even unconscious, she seemed important. But important in a way that went far beyond wealth or rank. As he worked, Liara stirred, blinking at the sunlight. "You've been up for hours," she said softly, her voice still thick with sleep. "I like mornings," Ethan replied with a smile. "Fewer distractions. Plus, there's always work to do." He gestured to her ship. "We've got a lot to finish before you can leave this planet safely." She sat up slowly, wincing as she moved. Ethan handed her a small cup of water. Drink, you need energy. Liara accepted it gratefully. Thank you. Ethan, you've done more than I expected. Most humans would have left me to my fate. He shrugged. I can't just leave someone in danger. That's not who I am. Her golden eyes studied him closely. You're brave. More than most. I've met leaders, warriors, strategists, but none of them approach danger as you do. Ethan felt his cheeks warm. I just try to think clearly. Plan, act, survive. Nothing more. Liara smiled faintly, though a shadow of concern crossed her face. It is rare for someone to act without expectation of reward. Most seek recognition, money, or power. You act for the right reasons. Ethan looked away, pretending not to care. I just do what I can. Helps keep me busy. They worked in silence for a while, Ethan fixing the minor systems and Liara observing. He noticed she wasn't just watching idly. She asked questions, sometimes giving suggestions. Her knowledge of starship mechanics was remarkable, though he had no idea where it came from. I've traveled far, she said finally, breaking the quiet. Seen worlds and civilizations most humans cannot imagine. Yet, your solutions are clever, practical. You think differently than any engineer I've met. Humans are adaptable, Ethan replied. We learn fast when we need to. That's how we survive. Liara nodded, impressed. I see that. And yet you are still humble. You don't seek to show off to prove yourself. You help. And that is all. Their conversation was interrupted by a faint beep from the sensors Ethan had rigged around the station. He frowned, scanning the readings. Someone's coming, he muttered. Liara's eyes narrowed. Scouts. From the edges of this system, I would guess pirates or raiders. Ethan's hands moved quickly, preparing defenses. He activated the automated turrets and energy nets he had set up around the station. We'll slow them down if they try anything. But we might have to act ourselves. The first small drones appeared on the horizon, glinting in the sun. They moved fast, scouting the area. Ethan and Liara worked in tandem, Ethan directing the defenses while Liara helped anticipate the drone's movements. Humans are resourceful, she murmured almost to herself. I underestimated your species. Ethan didn't reply. He was focused on the drones, adjusting the turrets and sending false signals to confuse them. When the drones reached the perimeter, several were caught in the energy nets while others were zapped by precise laser bursts. Within minutes, the small attack was over and the drones retreated. Liara exhaled, her eyes still wide. You saved us again. I'm impressed, Ethan shrugged, brushing off the praise. It's what needs to be done. You survive, we survive. For the next few days, Ethan and Liara continued to repair the ship while avoiding detection. The remote planet was quiet, but the threat of new scouts or rival factions lingered. Ethan began to notice subtle things about Liara. Her movements were precise, almost ceremonial, and her knowledge extended far beyond technology. She could read energy patterns, predict mechanical failures, and understand alien systems instinctively. You have remarkable skills, he said one evening. I've seen engineers study these systems for years and fail. You understand them naturally. Liara tilted her head, a small smile on her lips. It is part of my duty. I oversee many worlds, many fleets. I must understand the tools my people rely on, even the smallest ones. Ethan frowned. You oversee worlds? How many? She hesitated, then shook her head. Enough that it is not your concern yet. For now, focus on survival and repair. Despite her vagueness, Ethan realized she wasn't exaggerating. Her confidence and command suggested far more than a simple adventurer or trader. She carried herself like someone accustomed to authority. Late one night, as Ethan worked on a delicate control module, Liara approached. You are different from others, she said quietly. Different how? He asked, not looking up. You are fearless. Not reckless, but you do not hesitate to act, even when the odds are against you. That is rare. Ethan paused. Humans have to be fearless. If we weren't, we wouldn't survive in some places. We adapt, we learn, we fight. That's all. She studied him silently, her golden eyes reflecting the dim light. I can see it, perhaps. That is why I trust you. Most beings I know would hesitate. They would calculate endlessly while danger passed. The next morning, while Ethan recalibrated the ship's energy core, a more serious threat appeared. A larger vessel approached from the outer rim, its markings unfamiliar but aggressive. Ethan could sense it carried a significant crew. We have company, he said grimly. Liara's expression hardened. It is time you know more. These attackers are not ordinary raiders. They seek me, my position, my wealth, and perhaps something I carry. Ethan frowned. They want you, but who are you, really? She took a deep breath. I am Liara, ruler of a galactic empire. My people span thousands of star systems. My wealth surpasses any human imagination. And yet you do not see me for that, you see a person in need. Ethan's eyes widened, but he kept his composure. You're the one I've been helping? Liara nodded. Yes, and now that you know, you must decide if you still stand with me. Ethan's gaze hardened. I don't care about empires or riches. I care about people. And you need help. I stand with you. A small smile appeared on Liara's lips, admiration in her eyes. Then we must prepare. They will not wait for us to finish repairs. Together they worked through the day, integrating Ethan's practical solutions with Liara's advanced technology. They reinforced the shields, recalibrated the navigation system, and devised strategies to evade or neutralize the approaching vessel. By evening, the larger ship had moved closer, scanning the planet for signs of life. Ethan and Liara hid their presence using a combination of terrain camouflage and energy interference. It was tense work, but their cooperation was seamless, a blend of human ingenuity and galactic knowledge. When the night finally fell, the ship hovered silently above the planet, unaware that its target was ready. Ethan and Liara watched the stars, preparing for whatever came next. You are extraordinary, Liara said quietly, her voice carrying both admiration and gratitude. Not for what you can do with machines, but for your heart, your mind. You embody what humans can achieve. Ethan smiled faintly, a sense of pride and humility mixing in his chest. I just do what I can. That's all anyone can do, right? Liara's gaze met his, golden eyes reflecting starlight. No, most do not. You are different. And because of that, you may shape the fate of worlds even without knowing it. The night passed quietly, but the threat above remained. Ethan knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast and danger could come from anywhere, but for the first time he felt ready to face it. Not as a lone engineer, but as someone who could make a difference, someone who could fight alongside a being whose power and reach he had only begun to understand. In the quiet of the repair station, under the glow of distant stars, Ethan and Liara prepared for the challenges ahead. They did not yet know what awaited them, but one thing was certain. Their bond, born of trust, courage, and ingenuity, would define the battles to come. And somewhere in the cosmos, scouts and rival factions waited, unaware that the human they underestimated would soon prove that intelligence, bravery, and heart could stand against the might of empires. The tension was thick in the air as Ethan and Liara continued their preparations. The larger ship above the planet loomed like a shadow against the stars, scanning for their presence. Ethan had never faced anything like this before. Every decision mattered. One mistake could expose them and give the enemy the advantage. Liara moved with calm precision, giving orders through a small communication interface embedded in her wrist. They are scanning in patterns, but they have not detected our energy signatures fully. We have a small window. Ethan nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. Then we make the most of it. Let's finish reinforcing your shields and calibrate the stealth systems. If they find us, it's going to be close. Working side by side, the two completed a series of modifications. Ethan's ingenuity came into play as he improvised small but effective diversions. Energy pulses that created false readings, holographic decoys mimicking the heat signature of a ship, and traps to confuse scanners. Liara contributed advanced technology that Ethan could barely comprehend, enhancing the defenses with systems that reacted to threats automatically. Finally, as night fell over the rocky planet, the preparations were complete. They both stepped outside the station, looking up at the massive ship that hung silently above them. The stars reflected in Liara's golden eyes, and Ethan felt a mix of awe and determination. They think they control the situation, Liara said quietly. They do not know we are ready. Ethan's jaw tightened. They're about to learn humans are clever. Suddenly, the larger ship deployed smaller attack craft. They swooped down like predatory birds, scanning the terrain and seeking the source of interference. Ethan and Liara held their positions hidden behind natural rock formations. Now, Ethan whispered. He activated a series of energy pulses and the decoys scattered across the landscape. The attack craft followed the false signals, moving in the wrong directions. Liara activated her stealth field, making their ship almost invisible to detection. The humans' ingenuity shone in small but critical ways. Ethan had designed a set of automated traps, using the rocky terrain to disable several attack craft. Some drones were caught in magnetic fields, while others were rerouted into harmless loops by subtle manipulations of their guidance systems. Each move was precise, calculated, and effective. From her vantage point, Liara watched in amazement. You think quickly under pressure. I have seen generals hesitate, soldiers panic, and engineers fail under stress. Yet you adapt instantly, Ethan smiled faintly. When the stakes are high, there's no time to hesitate. You find a solution, or you fail. Simple as that. Hours passed as they evaded the scouts, but eventually one of the larger vessels broke through the defenses. Its sensors locked onto their location, and a warning pulse spread across the planet's surface. Ethan felt a surge of tension. This was it, the direct confrontation. We have no choice, Liara said, her voice steady. We must confront them. Not with force alone, but with strategy. Ethan nodded. Then let's give them a challenge they won't forget. They activated the ship's engines, lifting it slightly off the ground, though still hidden behind the natural terrain. Ethan controlled the secondary systems, ensuring maximum efficiency, while Liara activated the ship's defensive protocols. The enemy craft descended, weapons primed. They fired, but the energy shields Ethan had helped reinforce absorbed the initial assault. Ethan quickly adjusted the power flow to the shields, redirecting excess energy to the engines to boost mobility. Liara smiled faintly. I underestimated humans. Your solutions are elegant in their simplicity. Ethan felt a surge of pride but kept his focus. Simple works best when it has to. Now let's turn the tables. Using a combination of stealth and misdirection, Ethan maneuvered the ship through the rocky terrain. He baited the enemy into narrow passes where their larger size became a disadvantage. Traps set earlier disabled several attack drones, and the remaining craft were forced to retreat temporarily. From the skies above, Liara monitored the enemy fleet. You are more capable than I imagined, she admitted. I have fought countless battles, yet your ingenuity matches what I have seen from my best commanders. Ethan laughed softly, exhausted but exhilarated. I'm just a human. I rely on thinking, not raw power. Sometimes that's enough. Night turned to early morning as the confrontation subsided. The enemy had withdrawn, regrouping in orbit to rethink their strategy. Ethan and Liara returned to the repair station, weary but triumphant. You did well, Liara said sincerely. You did not just help me survive, you protected my empire without knowing the full scope of what you were defending. Ethan shook his head. I didn't know, and I don't really care about empires. I care about people. You needed help, and that's enough for me. Liara's golden eyes softened. Most would not act like that. You are rare among your kind. Courage, intelligence, and humility, all together. Ethan looked down, embarrassed by the praise. I just do what's right. That's all any human can do. Over the next several days, they worked on repairing the ship fully. Ethan's hands moved with skill and precision, guided by Liara's instructions. He marveled at the advanced technology, yet he found ways to simplify repairs, using human ingenuity to solve problems even alien technology could not anticipate. As they worked, Liara began to reveal more about herself. Not full details, but glimpses. She spoke of distant worlds, of fleets that protected entire systems, and of her responsibilities to maintain balance across her empire. Ethan listened, fascinated, realizing the magnitude of the being he had helped. You have been living in small spaces and simple worlds, Liara said one evening, yet you handle challenges that many seasoned officers could not. You have potential beyond what you imagine. Ethan shrugged. I just do what I must. Thinking fast, acting fast, that's all it is. She shook her head slightly, smiling. It is more than that. It is bravery, strategy, and heart. Most humans do not combine all three. You do. As the repairs neared completion, Liara prepared for departure. Ethan felt a strange mix of pride and unease. He had no idea where this journey would take them, but he knew one thing. Humans, even alone, could make a difference that echoed across galaxies. Suddenly, alarms blared from the ship. A new fleet appeared on sensors, larger and more coordinated than before. Liara's expression hardened. They have returned. This time they know exactly where we are. We must act immediately. Ethan's mind raced. Then we fight smart. Not just with weapons, but with strategy. The battle began in earnest. Ethan guided the ship through treacherous terrain, outmaneuvering larger enemy vessels with speed and clever tactics. He deployed decoys, disrupted their sensors, and created illusions to make the enemy fleet overestimate their numbers. Liara used her ship's advanced systems to amplify Ethan's strategies, combining technology and human ingenuity seamlessly. Hours passed in a tense dance of skill and strategy. Finally, the enemy, frustrated and overwhelmed, began to retreat. Ethan and Liara watched as the last of the craft vanished into the void. Liara turned to him, her expression a mixture of awe and gratitude. "You did it. Against overwhelming odds, you defended not only yourself but my empire. I underestimated humans, and I'm glad I was wrong." Ethan smiled, exhausted but satisfied. "I just do what I can. That's all any human can do." For the first time, Liara allowed herself to show genuine admiration. "No, this is more than that. You are extraordinary, Ethan. You have proven that courage, intelligence, and determination can change the course of events, even across galaxies." As the night fell over the rocky planet, Ethan and Liara stood together, watching the stars. The immediate threat was gone, but the galaxy was vast and full of challenges yet to come. Yet in that moment, both understood a simple truth: humans, though often underestimated, could stand against incredible power and emerge victorious. And somewhere deep in the cosmos, unseen observers took note. A human had defended a galactic ruler with nothing but ingenuity, courage, and heart. The galaxy would not forget. The following days were tense but purposeful. Ethan and Liara had managed to repair her ship, but the threat of rival factions in her empire loomed ever closer. Though they had won the last encounter, the galaxy was vast, and enemies could appear from unexpected directions. Every day was a test of vigilance, skill, and trust. Ethan spent hours calibrating the ship's systems, fine-tuning energy cores, and running simulations of potential attacks. Liara observed, sometimes giving guidance, sometimes allowing him freedom to find his own solutions. She had begun to trust his judgment completely, a rare honor, considering the responsibility she carried as a galactic ruler. "You've learned quickly," she remarked one evening, as Ethan adjusted a complex sequence of energy shields. "I have seen engineers spend months on these systems and still fail." "You understand them instinctively." Ethan paused, wiping the sweat from his brow. "I guess humans just figure things out. We adapt. That's how we survive." Liara studied him, golden eyes reflecting the dim lights of the ship. "And yet you are not just clever. You are courageous. You act when others would hesitate. That is rare among any species." Ethan smiled faintly. "I don't think about courage. I just do what needs to be done." Her smile was faint, almost approving. "That is what makes you extraordinary. Humans can be underestimated, but when circumstances demand it, they rise above expectation." As they worked, the first signs of a new problem appeared. One of Liara's distant advisors had detected unusual activity in a neighboring system, an internal faction planning a coup. Ethan looked over her shoulder at the holographic display. "They're plotting against you here?" Liara nodded, her expression calm but serious. "Yes, they see my absence as an opportunity. If they succeed, it could destabilize my entire empire." Ethan frowned. "Then we need to act fast. We can't let them gain any advantage." Liara tapped the interface, highlighting multiple systems. "You will help me. Your understanding of strategy and adaptability will be crucial. I trust your instincts." Ethan felt a surge of determination. "Then let's make sure your empire remains safe. We'll outthink them, not just outfight them." Over the next days, they devised a plan. Ethan suggested unconventional tactics combining stealth, diversion, and misdirection. Liara provided the resources and technology to implement them on a galactic scale. Together, their approach became more than the sum of its parts, human ingenuity and alien technology working in perfect harmony. The first step was reconnaissance. Ethan piloted a smaller craft equipped with his own modifications, allowing them to move unseen through enemy-controlled space. Liara guided him, pointing out weak points in defenses and explaining the political implications of each action. "You are remarkable," Liara said quietly as Ethan maneuvered the ship through a maze of asteroid fields. "Most humans would panic in this situation. Yet you remain calm, precise, and inventive." Ethan shrugged. "I just focus on what needs to happen." Panicking doesn't help anyone. Their reconnaissance mission revealed more than they expected. The faction plotting against Liara had secured multiple allies, including ships equipped with powerful energy weapons. The threat was significant, but Ethan's mind raced with possible solutions. "We can't face them head-on," he said after studying the data, "but we can use the terrain, our speed and misdirection. We can force them to make mistakes." Liara nodded, impressed. "Your human logic is unusual yet effective. Let us proceed with your plan." The following days involved careful preparation. Ethan designed decoys, false communication signals, and automated traps to disrupt the faction's coordination. Liara used her advanced technology to cloak their presence and provide real-time feedback. Each day tested their patience, skill, and trust in one another. Finally, the moment arrived. The faction's forces moved to challenge Liara's rule, sending a fleet toward the planet where her ship had been repaired. Ethan and Liara watched from orbit, calculating every possibility. "You are ready," Liara said, her voice steady. "Your insight, your strategy, your courage, they will determine the outcome. I trust you completely." Ethan felt a surge of pride and responsibility. "Then let's show them what humans are capable of." The battle began with deception. Ethan's decoys led part of the enemy fleet into traps hidden within asteroid fields. Liara's stealth systems allowed their ships to strike unexpectedly, creating confusion and delaying coordination among the enemy. Every move relied on quick thinking, timing, and understanding the enemy's weaknesses. Ethan directed the smaller ships, exploiting their agility and speed. Liara's fleet supported him with precision strikes and defensive shields. Together, they turned the tide of the battle, proving that intelligence and strategy could overcome raw power. At one point, an enemy vessel broke through their defenses, closing rapidly on Liara's flagship. Ethan acted without hesitation, rerouting power to shield generators while simultaneously deploying a calculated energy pulse that disabled the enemy ship's engines. The move saved countless lives and demonstrated the effectiveness of human ingenuity, combined with alien technology. After hours of tense combat, the faction's forces began to retreat. Their morale shattered, they withdrew, leaving Liara's empire secure for the moment. Ethan and Liara watched the last of their ships vanish into space, exhausted but victorious. "You have done it again," Liara said softly, her voice filled with admiration. "Your courage, your intelligence, your quick thinking, they have preserved my empire. I am grateful." Ethan shook his head. "I didn't do it for glory. I did it because it was right. Because you needed help. That's all humans need to act." Liara studied him with a newfound respect. "Most leaders would have ignored you, dismissed you, underestimated you. Yet you acted without hesitation. You have shown me the true potential of humans." Over the next few days, they returned to the repaired planet to assess damages and make final adjustments. Ethan worked tirelessly on the ship, ensuring that every system functioned at peak efficiency. Liara observed, occasionally offering guidance but allowing him full control. "You have grown," she remarked one evening as they sat beneath the stars. "Not just in skill but in understanding. You have learned to anticipate challenges, adapt, and act decisively." Ethan smiled faintly. "I've learned from you too. Your experience, your knowledge, your calm in danger, it's taught me a lot." Liara's golden eyes softened. "Then we have both benefited. I trust you more than any human or even alien I have known, and I believe that trust will shape the future of my empire." Their bond strengthened over time, built on mutual respect, trust, and the shared experience of surviving and thriving against overwhelming odds. Ethan had come to realize that humans, though often underestimated, could stand alongside the greatest powers in the galaxy and influence events beyond imagination. Yet, even in victory, the galaxy remained unpredictable. Rumors of new threats began to circulate, rival factions seeking revenge, external forces watching for weakness. Ethan knew that the work was far from over, but he also knew that together, he and Liara could face any challenge. One evening, as they watched the twin suns set over the rocky landscape, Liara turned to him. "Ethan, you have shown me what humans are capable of. Not just bravery, not just skill, but heart. That is something many of my people lack despite their power and resources." Ethan looked at her, humbled. "I just do what I can. That's all anyone can do, right?" Liara shook her head, smiling. "No, most would not. You are extraordinary, and because of that, you may influence events far beyond your understanding." Ethan felt a quiet pride. He had never sought recognition, wealth, or power. Yet in helping Liara, he had demonstrated the strength of humanity. Courage, intelligence, and compassion combined. As night fell, they returned to the ship, preparing for the challenges that lay ahead. The galaxy was vast, filled with unknown dangers and opportunities. But for the first time, Ethan felt that he could meet those challenges. Not as a lone engineer, but as a human capable of shaping events on a galactic scale. Liara's presence was a constant reminder that trust, collaboration, and courage could overcome even the most formidable threats. And somewhere deep in the cosmos, the echoes of their actions began to spread, showing that humans, though often underestimated, could stand against incredible power and emerge victorious. In the quiet of the repair station, beneath the stars, Ethan and Liara prepared for the next chapter. Their alliance was stronger than ever, forged in the fires of danger, strengthened by trust, and guided by the unique capabilities of humanity. And the galaxy, vast and unpredictable, would soon discover that even the smallest human could make a difference that reached across the stars. The calm that had followed their last victory was fragile. Though the immediate threat of the rival faction had been neutralized, the galaxy remained unpredictable. New challenges could emerge at any moment, and Ethan and Liara both knew that. Yet they had grown stronger, their alliance forged in the fires of danger built on trust, courage, and ingenuity. Liara's ship now stood fully repaired, gleaming under the twin suns of the remote planet. Ethan had worked tirelessly, ensuring that every system, from propulsion to shields, operated at peak efficiency. He had modified some systems with human ingenuity, small adjustments that enhanced performance beyond standard alien specifications. "You've exceeded even my expectations," Liara said quietly, watching as he finished calibrating the energy matrix. "Your solutions are elegant and effective. I could not have done this without you." Ethan shrugged, though a faint smile tugged at his lips. "I just do what makes sense. Think, act, adjust. That's how humans survive." Liara studied him for a long moment. "It is more than survival. You inspire those around you. Courage, intelligence, and compassion, qualities many leaders claim but few demonstrate. You possess them naturally." Before Ethan could respond, the ship's sensors flared to life. A new fleet had entered the system. Unlike the previous enemy, this group moved with precise coordination and overwhelming power. Ethan's stomach tightened. They were clearly a larger, more dangerous force. "They've come for me," Liara said, her voice calm but firm. "They know of your involvement now. This will not be easy." Ethan nodded. "We've handled tough situations before. Let's do it again." They moved quickly, activating all defensive and stealth systems. Ethan's human intuition guided their maneuvers while Liara's advanced technology enhanced every decision. They set traps, deployed decoys, and prepared for a battle that would test every skill they had learned. The first wave of enemy ships descended, weapons charged and scanning for weaknesses. Ethan's modifications to the ship proved invaluable. Small energy pulses disrupted targeting systems, while carefully timed maneuvers kept their ship out of harm's way. Liara watched in admiration. "You think faster than any officer I have commanded. Humans truly are exceptional when it comes to adaptation." Ethan didn't respond. He focused entirely on the battle, calculating movements, predicting enemy behavior, and adjusting their strategy in real time. Every decision had consequences, yet he moved with calm precision, his human ingenuity turning potential disaster into advantage. Hours passed as they engaged the fleet. Ethan's clever tactics forced enemy ships into traps and misdirection loops, while Liara's superior technology amplified every strike. Their combined efforts were seamless, a perfect blend of human ingenuity and alien capability. At one point, a massive enemy vessel broke through their defenses, closing rapidly on Liara's flagship. Ethan acted instantly, deploying an energy pulse to disable its engines while Liara engaged her defensive systems to minimize impact. The vessel lurched, then drifted harmlessly, its crew stunned by the unexpected move. "You are extraordinary," Liara said softly, her voice carrying a mix of awe and gratitude. "No human should be capable of such precision under pressure." Ethan wiped sweat from his brow. It's not about being extraordinary. It's about thinking clearly and acting decisively. That's all humans do when it matters most. Despite their success, the battle was far from over. Enemy reinforcements arrived, larger and more coordinated than before. Ethan and Liara realized that brute force alone would not win this fight. They needed strategy, ingenuity, and perfect timing. Ethan gestured to Liara. We need to divide their forces, hit weak points, create confusion, and make them underestimate us. They'll fall into our traps if we play this right. Liara nodded. Your instincts are correct, let us do as you say. Using a combination of stealth, diversions, and tactical misdirection, they executed their plan. Ethan piloted smaller craft to lure parts of the enemy fleet into asteroid fields, while Liara coordinated precise strikes from her flagship. Energy pulses, holographic decoys, and rapid maneuvers created chaos among the enemy, breaking their formations and forcing them into reactive positions. Hours stretched into a tense dance of strategy and skill. Ethan's human creativity and adaptability shone in every moment. He anticipated enemy moves, adjusted tactics on the fly, and exploited every weakness. Liara, impressed, relied on his decisions to guide her fleet's actions, realizing that this human was more than an ally. He was a tactical genius in his own right. Finally, the last enemy ship retreated, their morale shattered, and their plans thwarted. Ethan and Liara watched from orbit as the fleet disappeared into the void. Exhaustion weighed on them both, but the satisfaction of victory was immense. You have done it again, Liara said, her golden eyes shining with admiration. You protected not only yourself but my empire, with courage and intelligence beyond measure. Ethan shook his head. I didn't do it for glory. I did it because it was right. That's all humans need to act. Liara stepped closer, her gaze intense but gentle. Most leaders, humans or otherwise, would have ignored the simple act of helping someone. Yet you acted, and in doing so, you changed the course of events across the galaxy. You have proven the true potential of humanity. For the first time, Ethan allowed himself to feel pride. He had never sought recognition, wealth, or power. His only aim had been to help, to survive, and to protect those in need. And in doing so, he had demonstrated the qualities that made humans exceptional: courage, intelligence, creativity, and compassion. The aftermath of the battle was calm but reflective. Liara's empire remained secure, her position unchallenged and her respect for Ethan deeper than ever. Together, they began planning for the future, knowing that new challenges would inevitably arise. You are remarkable, Liara said one evening as they walked through the ship's observation deck, gazing at distant stars. Not for your strength or skill alone, but for your heart. You embody what I have long admired about humans, the ability to act decisively, think clearly, and rise above expectation. Ethan smiled faintly. I just do what I can. That's all anyone can do. Liara shook her head, a soft smile on her lips. No, most would not. You are extraordinary. And because of that, you have changed not only my fate, but the fate of countless others. Days passed in quiet preparation, yet both knew the galaxy remained unpredictable. Ethan continued to refine systems, anticipate threats, and learn from Liara's experience. Their partnership was now unbreakable, forged through trials that tested skill, courage, and trust. Finally, as the twin suns rose over the horizon of the repaired planet, Liara turned to Ethan. You have proven the power of humanity. I have seen it in battle and strategy in your heart. You have changed how I see my empire and its future. Ethan felt a calm determination. I didn't do it for recognition. I did it because it was right. Humans act when it matters, and that's what I've always done. Nothing more, nothing less. Liara studied him for a long moment, then placed a hand on his shoulder. You are more than an ally. You are a symbol of what humans can achieve. Courage, intelligence, compassion, qualities that can shape the fate of galaxies. Ethan looked at her, realizing the truth in her words. He had never sought power. Yet through simple acts of ingenuity and bravery, he had influenced events on a scale he could hardly imagine. The galaxy had seen what a human could accomplish when guided by courage and intelligence. As they stood together, watching the distant stars, Ethan understood that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of unknown threats and opportunities, but humans could face them with ingenuity, bravery, and heart. And with allies like Liara, even the greatest challenges could be overcome. The Empire remained secure, the enemy vanquished, and the bond between human and galactic rulers stronger than ever. Together, Ethan and Liara had proven a simple but powerful truth. Even one human acting with courage, intelligence, and determination could change the fate of worlds. And somewhere across the cosmos, unseen observers noted the rise of a human who had stood against impossible odds, who had saved an empire, and who had shown the galaxy the true power of humanity. In that quiet moment, beneath the stars, Ethan felt a sense of fulfillment. He had acted without expectation, yet achieved something extraordinary. He had helped not just a ruler but countless lives across the galaxy, and in doing so, he had proven the greatest strength of all, the human spirit.